million, which represents a drop from the record $40 million paid for a charter last season. A charter is the rights to a number which Front Row will take over next season. It is not known which number was purchased. Stewart-Haas has 3 other charters up for grabs, with 2311 Racing and Trackhouse Racing being linked to those numbers. Stewart-Haas will end operation at the conclusion of this season. The NCAA Baseball Super Regionals begin today with 4 games. Clemson starts its Super Regional tomorrow at 2 p.m. against Florida. Pre-game coverage begins at 1:30 on WRHI FM 100.1. The Atlanta Braves topped the Washington Nationals 5-2 on the road last night. Marcell Ozuna had a 2-run homer as the Braves improved to 35-25 on the season. In other games around the majors, the Red Sox, Blue Jays, Royals, Mariners, Dodgers, Yankees, Reds, Diamondbacks, and Rockies were all winners. With your Friday sports, I'm Chris Miller.
I'm Jerry Willis, and this is the Fox Business Report.
Stocks started out lower, then turned mixed, with some investors shrugging off the stronger than expected job growth in May of 272,000 new positions and wages rising more than expected. It carries with it the implication the Federal Reserve can wait longer to lower interest rates. But the report also found the monthly unemployment rate rose to 4% for the first time in 2 years. Cruise stocks have turned lower after a strong week. Analysts say cruise operators continue to benefit, though, from the shift in consumer spending to experiences. Royal Caribbean, Carnival, and Norwegian could still all post gains for the week. Tesla shares are higher. Barron says Tesla's latest deal is on its most affordable Model 3. That's your Fox Business Report. I'm Jenny Cosola, invested in you.
Gold demand is hitting record highs, but supply may not keep up. I'm Dr. Ron Paul, and I believe physical gold is the only way to truly protect your retirement savings from a chaotic world. To learn how to diversify your IRA or 401k into physical precious metals, text the word SHELTER to 989898 for a free info kit on gold IRAs from Birch Gold Group. That's SHELTER to 989898.
Message.
Fox News. I'm Chris Foster. President Biden speaks about defending democracy at Pointe-du-Hoc, France. Cliffs in Normandy scaled by American Rangers to take out German artillery ahead of the D-Day invasion in 1944.
Gunfire rained above them, but still they kept coming. Nazi grenades thrown from above exploded against the cliffs, but still they kept coming.
77 of the 225 Rangers were killed during 2 days of combat. The prosecution rests at Hunter Biden's federal gun trial in Delaware. Their star witness was his sister-in-law, later ex-girlfriend.
An FBI forensic chemist testified that pouch that Hallie Biden found the gun in and tossed, that contained cocaine residue. That's the big headline this morning.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson. Hunter Biden's accused of lying about drug use on a form to buy a handgun. His stepmother, the First Lady Jill Biden's back in court, traveling back from the D-Day events in France. America's listening to Fox News.
In the News Center, I'm Stephen Stone. A person has died along with 2 others being injured Wednesday afternoon in a car collision. It happened as a car crossed into oncoming traffic on Highway 274 in Clover at around 1 p.m. A Chrysler sedan headed southbound near Campbell Road when it lost control and struck a Lexus and Ford coupe going in the opposite direction. The deceased has been identified as 81-year-old Linda Ferrant of Clover. She was a passenger of the vehicle that was struck by the other crossing into the median. The driver of that car and passenger in the Chrysler were both injured. Pathology and toxicology results are pending. South Carolina Highway Patrol and the coroner's office continue to investigate.
But I do want to brag a little bit. You can't put me in front of a microphone and not ask me not to brag about Winthrop University. Here's what I'll tell you. We have been incredibly busy the last 2 years.
That is Winthrop President Dr. Edward Cerner sharing some updates on the college at the most recent Rock Hill Economic Development Corporation's annual meeting. Dr. Cerner had nothing but positives to share, from new programs to enrollment and improvements currently being done. One of those positives being that the freshman class is 30% larger than the class 2 years ago.
WRHI Rock Hill, W261CY Rock Hill. Good Pharmacy, Rock Hill's hometown pharmacy for over 60 years. Camden Avenue at Ebenezer Road. Straight Talk on WRHI FM 100.1 and CN2 is presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Now here's Manning Kimmel broadcasting live from Substation 2 on Cherry Road in Rock Hill with Straight Talk, selected by the South Carolina Broadcasters Association as the state's top public affairs program.
And a good afternoon. Welcome into Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop, for another edition of our Straight Talk program presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders. Our thanks to our co-sponsor today, Comporium, your friendly neighborhood news. What do I say? My friendly neighborhood tech giant. And our thanks as well to Piedmont Medical Center, a community built on care. You can find out more about them online at PiedmontMedicalCenter.com. Well, today we finish up our series of political profiles with two candidates. Beth Tolson, who is one of 5 candidates for York County Sheriff, followed by Randy Ligon, who is running for re-election to State House number 43. So we start off ladies first. How are you doing, Beth? You all right?
I'm good. How are you?
How you like this campaign and stuff?
I love it. Not.
Not. I got you.
Not.
You're not worn out yet, are you?
I'm tired.
I bet you are. So we need to tell people about Beth Tolson. Tell us about your background.
So Beth Tolson. Well, first of all, thank you for having me. Thank you to WRHI for this opportunity. So let me tell you a little bit about Beth Tolson. I'm 53 years old. I'm a mother of 2 beautiful daughters and 1 perfect two and a half year old grandson.
Perfect. Okay.
I'm married. I was born and raised right here in York County. This has been my home for 53 years now. And I live in a little neighborhood called Terza. So, yeah, I've been around for a long time, it seems like, here in York County.
Now, you've got quite a professional background in law enforcement. Tell me about that.
I do. So I guess I was the son that my father did not have. My dad is a law enforcement officer, a retired law enforcement officer. And so I went into law enforcement when I was 21 years old. I loved what he did. And it was very interesting to me. So at 21, I started at the York County Sheriff's Office. And so after being there for quite a number of years, up until about 2018, my husband decided to run for sheriff. And we had an agreement that I would leave the sheriff's office if he becomes sheriff. So I didn't expect him to hold up to his end of the bargain, but he did. And then I went to work for the York County Solicitor's Office, where I was an investigator there until last month, and I retired to run for this position last month. So I'm retired from the solicitor's office, basically.
So you're running because you got it in your blood and you just want to do it?
Well, I'm running because I have felt called at this point in my life. It is in my blood. I was raised in the York County Sheriff's Office, and I've raised my children in that York County Sheriff's Office. And so, yeah, it's in my blood. And the reason why I'm running, well, that's a little bit of a different story. I never thought that I would run for sheriff. When my dad retired, he said, Beth, why don't you run for sheriff? And I'm like, no way. And I don't want to do that at this point. So my husband did run at that point in time. And he's been doing an amazing job for the last going on 8 years. And he's decided to take another position that's near and dear to his heart. And that's why I'm here right now.
Okay. So you wanted to talk about this, and we'll talk about it.
Right.
Your campaign got started off on a rather interesting note.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And I want you to tell us about, because you run into this a lot. People think there's some shady whatever going on here.
Absolutely.
So tell us exactly what happened.
Okay. So, like I said before, my husband filed to run again. He wanted to do 4 more years, 1 more term as sheriff. And so he filed. And then back in 2018, I guess I should tell a little bit of the history about this, is we lost an officer and others were shot. And since that time, it has become my husband's passion to take care of his people, take care of other police officers, especially in the mental wellness program that he's established since that time. We have traveled around the United States helping other law enforcement agencies with peer support, helping out with mental wellness, getting them involved in programs to help them with their mental wellness. So after he filed to run, he was contacted by a guy named Jim Banish, who's the director of the New York Law Enforcement Assistance Program, who we've become really good friends with, through this whole process. And Jim basically said, "Are you ready to travel the country with me and help me start law enforcement assistance programs in the 36 states that don't have that?" So his heart dropped. We just paid $8,000 for him to run.
I was there when he signed the check.
Absolutely. And so what do we do? I mean, this is a calling. This has been a calling of his since 2018, since losing Mike Doty. So a few days go by and we're talking about it and discussing it. And I said, "Kevin, why don't you go and do that and I'll run for sheriff?" And I sort of said it jokingly, but he looked at me and said, "Okay." And I said, "Okay." And he said, "Yeah, absolutely." So we talked about it a few more days. We prayed about it. We just gave it to the good Lord. And that Monday morning, the day of closing, filing to close, we were still sitting in the parking lot in our truck looking at each other saying, "Is this really what we're called to do? Is this really what we need to do?" And we got out of that truck and walked in, and I filed. And he told the folks there in the elections office that he was withdrawing. And so I filed. And so here we are. We were contacted later on by the York County GOP saying, "I think we need to open this back up." I guess they didn't like the way that it looked. And, of course, we didn't even consider that or think about that when we were making that decision. Right. So here I am.
So it's easy to be a Monday morning quarterback, and
right.
I suppose in retrospect you probably should just let him withdraw, and then automatically it opened up again, right?
Right, exactly.
Well, it didn't happen that way, and I understand what you're saying.
Right.
All right, so here you are. You're in it.
Right.
And what is it that you think, and I told you that I was going to ask you about this, what distinguishes you from the other four candidates? Because all of you have lots of law enforcement background.
Right.
And for the average schmuck like me out here who doesn't understand a whole lot about law enforcement except I love them and I want to see them do what they need to do, how am I supposed to distinguish you from the others?
Well, first of all, like I said before, the York County Sheriff's Office is my second home. I've been a police officer in that sheriff's office for 27 years before I left to go to the solicitor's office. That's my home. I have an amazing passion for that office. I want to take care of the people in the office. Not only that, but I've been serving the citizens of York County since I was actually 18 years of age. So you think about it, 35 years of experience, 35 years of public service for York County. Again, I was raised in that agency. I've lived with the man that has ran that agency for the last 7.5 years. I know the ins and outs of that agency. I know how it's ran. I have the relationships with the people in that agency. I love the people in that agency. They are near and dear to my heart. And the passion and the love that I have for them and the citizens of this county and just want to continue to do a good job for them is far outweighs anybody else's, I honestly believe.
You know, one thing that we may have skipped over is the fact that your daddy, some guy named Bruce Bryant, was the sheriff of York County, or as I called him, the sheriff of Nottingham,
right,
for 20 years.
He was.
So, as you say, that's where you were raised in that office.
He raised me in that office, me and my sister, and just the relationships that I have with people in the office, just from growing up in that office, people that's been there for years, and me working there for years. I was a supervisor there in the juvenile sex crimes unit for several years, and then I moved over to the property crimes unit where I supervised a great group of guys. And like I said, I did that until moving over to the solicitor's office. But, you know, I'm a female, obviously. And there's one female in the state of South Carolina that is sheriff, and that's Kristen Graziano in Charleston, and I admire her and I respect her. This is what I want to do. I want to be a role model to other women in police and the sheriff's office, letting them see that we don't have to stop at being a patrol officer. We don't have to stop at being a lieutenant. We can be a sheriff. And I think it's time that we do that. here in South Carolina, here in York County. And I don't want people to vote for me because I'm a female. Don't get me wrong. Right. I want people to vote for me because I'm the most qualified, I've got the most experience, and I have the most love and passion for that office and the citizens of York County.
So if you were sitting down with a good old boy across his table,
right,
and he looked you straight in the eye and say, "Why should I vote for a woman to be in this office? This is a man's job."
Oh.
And I'm sure
I don't know. Yeah, I might come across that table. I don't know. That's a loaded question. I think that's a loaded question. Unfortunately there are some men that still think that way, right. And I've seen it. I've never been a feminist, but since putting my name in the hat to run for sheriff here in York County as a female sheriff, I've actually experienced some discrimination.
Oh, I bet.
I really have.
I bet. All right, let's talk about if you are elected to this job, and you got this. It looks like it's going to be potentially a good chance for a runoff because there's 5 people that are trying to split the pie.
Right.
You got to get 50% plus 1
exactly
to avoid the runoff. But if you are elected to this, what kinds of things do you want to bring to the table besides the passion that you've talked about before?
Yeah. It takes
to keep this department running the way it's been running.
It takes more than just passion and love for that office. I get that. So what I'm wanting to do, Manning, are a few things. I want to start a domestic violence unit within the agency. I think that's been a long time coming, and I think that's needed. I want to expand the traffic unit. We've received grants, and when I say we, I'm saying the York County Sheriff's Office. It would always be a part of me. So we've received grants to expand that particular unit. I want to expand the mental wellness program. We have 1 clinical psychologist there. We actually have 500 people that the sheriff oversees. There's 500 people, and I want to expand that program. We're working her a lot. So, when we talk about 500 people, we think mostly when we talk about the sheriff's office, the enforcement division, but we have our detention center, and there's some really some heroes over there that I admire and give credit to. But I wouldn't want to be a detention officer.
It's a tough job.
It is a tough job. So just doing things to recruit staff for our detention center. We're a few down in our detention center. Our enforcement unit is fully staffed, but just keeping the recruiting coming and expanding as we grow in this county. It's amazing, the growth. Lake Wiley, Fort Mill, Rock Hill. Just make sure we're keeping up with the growth and having the sheriff has his own budget, and so he's in charge of that budget. I've had the relationships with an amazing finance director that's right there in the sheriff's office. I've developed relationships with the county council members who are amazing to our office.
Which you're going to need to continue those because your department's going to need more people to handle the growing population.
Absolutely looking at additional grants and funding, and so we got to grow with the county.
Okay, got about 30 seconds left to tell everybody why you are the best choice on next Tuesday on the 11th.
Well, thank you, Manning. I'm the best choice because the York County Sheriff's Office is a part of me, and I've been a part of it for 32 years. Longer than that. I was actually born in it. I plan to take care of the men and women in that office. I intend to protect the citizens of York County, which I've protected since I was 18 years of age. And so I think that makes me the best qualified person for that position.
Well, good luck to you. Thank you for being part of the process
and
going out there and doing all the stuff you have to do to get a vote.
Thank you
so
much. Her
name is Beth Tolson, and she's on the ballot next Tuesday, the 11th. And we're going to take our mid-program break. Remind you that you are listening to Straight Talk live from Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop. Presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax here with Founders. And by Caporium, your friendly neighborhood tech giant. Good Pharmacy is with us, your hometown pharmacy. Ebenezer Road at Camden Avenue in Rock Hill. Okay, for all the smart people here, you included, we do something here called Fresh Subs and Salads, and we do it 6 days a week here at Substation 2. How do we do it is in the white letters. Are you ready to chant in at the count of 3? 1, 2, 3.
Slice, slice, slice. Garden, garden, garden.
Back after these words.
If it's 12:30, it's Straight Talk on WRHI and CN2.
Have you ever wondered why so many people enjoy dining at Substation 2?
Substation 2 is excellent. It's fresh. The buns just feel like they came out of the oven, and you can't beat the deli meat.
I'm Charlie Ruffalo, and I guarantee you'll feel the same way after eating here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop.
Dr. Carrie Watson, the trauma medical director at Piedmont Medical Center, says she's very proud of what's being accomplished at Piedmont.
We are able to do robotic surgery. We are a robotic center of excellence, and that's robotic surgery for general surgery like gallbladders, hernias, colon. We also have robotic urology, so that's things like kidney removals and things with your bladder. We also have robotic neurosurgery that we're doing, and that's pretty amazing. Not a lot of places have that.
Piedmont Medical Center, a community built on care.
When disaster strikes, one of the most important things is getting life back to normal. A little compassion can go a long way. Paul Davis is here for you. Paul Davis is committed to handling any property damage with exceptional care, because what we do is about more than property. It's about people. We have the training and expertise necessary to completely restore your property fast. For all your cleanup and restoration needs, call the experts at Paul Davis Restoration at 329-1140 or find us online at pauldavisrockhill.com.
Relax this summer with a promotional rate on select travel purchases with your Founders Federal Credit Union credit card. Now through August 31st, get 6.99% APR for 6 months on qualifying purchases, including airfare, hotels, restaurants, and cruise lines. Don't let interest rates slow you down this summer. Visit foundersfcu.com/travel to learn more. On March 1st, 2025, the promotional APR will revert to the effective APRs previously disclosed. Call 800-845-1614 for details about credit costs and terms. Membership qualification required.
If a big outdoor project is part of your future plans, before you start digging, call 811. Within 72 hours, your underground utilities will be located and marked, and you'll know exactly where it's safe to dig. A quick phone call is all it takes, and there's no charge to find out where potentially dangerous underground cables and lines are located. Before you grab a shovel or start digging in the yard, call 811 at least 3 business days before digging. Remember, if it requires a shovel, it requires a call to 811.
There are lots of reasons why people like dining at Substation 2.
I like the lunch special pricing.
I like the bread, good prices, and location.
Man, it's just utterly delicious.
I'm Charlie Ruffalo, and I guarantee you'll feel the same way after eating here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop.
Straight Talk on WRHI FM 100.1 and CN2 is brought to you by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax, you're with Founders.
And back we are here at Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop for the finale, the grand finale of our series of political profiles. His name is Randy Ligon. He is your state representative from House seat number 43. And by golly, most people know him by...
Gotta go.
Yeah, that's right. I gotta go. You know, believe it or not, there are some people, very few, but there are a few people who really don't know who you are and what you do. So try to be serious here for a minute or two.
A serious moment. You hadn't put the TV camera on us here yet, have you?
Not yet.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Randy Ligon, Ligon Realty and Auction Company. Run ads on WRHI. And have auctions a couple of days a week, a couple of times a week. You know, I'm blessed to have a good real estate company. We're mostly in the commercial real estate business and the auction business. And the auction business has grown a lot, and it's really been incredible and a blessing how it has taken off. And, you know, we've gone from one employee to 15, 16. I lose track.
Yeah. Yeah. So you left out the fact that you're married. You left out the fact that you have a son who's an attorney and a daughter who's a physician's assistant.
That's right.
Down in Beaufort.
Yeah, well, I was talking about the company. Yes, the family. My wife is director of special services for Chester County Schools for 38 years. Can you believe that? Really? She is a dedicated public servant. Let me tell you, Jeannie's really worked hard there in that program. George is a young attorney who spent 5 years in Atlanta, and he's moved back to Rock Hill, and we're glad to have him close to home, and his wife and new baby. I'm a grandfather as of April 1st.
Attaboy.
And Mary Catherine's in the emergency room medicine part of Beaufort Memorial Hospital.
So here you are. You have been a state representative for how long?
3 terms, which is 6 years.
All right, 6 years. And you're running again. You haven't had enough yet?
Well, some days. Some days I have. Yeah, for sure. But, running again, there's so much to do. It takes time to create some sense of where you belong and seniority and what can you really get done. And I think I finally kind of getting my stride, as they say. It takes a while.
Right.
And seniority is important.
Oh, it's a big deal.
In the State House. I'm fortunate enough to, I've spent 4 years on the Ag Committee where I could have stayed for forever. Yeah, I loved it. But the Speaker asked me to move over to the LCI, Labor, Commerce, and Industry,
Right.
which is business, which I'm in economic development, construction, and business, and I have been promoted to chairman of the real estate subcommittee of LCI.
Whoa.
And I'll tell you, for a young guy like me, not that young anymore, but 6 years in experience, that was really an honor to be asked to do that. And I was also asked to be on the State Workforce Development Board.
Now, I know one thing you've said in the past is, you operate a farm. You know farmers.
I'm a farmer.
And you're from Chester County.
Absolutely.
And you don't want to see Chester County lose this seat. You want somebody from Chester County to represent Chester County.
Well, Chester County has been represented since the beginning of the colonies. I mean, Chester was a center of commerce in the upstate, in the 1700s. So we have always been represented. And for the first time, now that we've changed the way we divide up seats based on population demographics, the sitting senator for Chester County lives in Fairfield County. The other House member lives in Winsboro in Fairfield County. I'm the only person still representing Chester County as a resident, and would be the first time in 250 years Chester County didn't have a resident representative, should I not go back.
Well, that's what happens when you have a census. It's done every 10 years. And you see the big growth here in York County, which has not yet trickled down to Chester County, although it is stuff's beginning to happen down
It's
there.
starting,
Right.
but it didn't in 2000. The census is taken in 2020, and our growth really didn't kick in, and then COVID kicked in and slowed everything down. So I predict whoever's here in 2030 will see a much different census.
So you've been pretty successful in getting some big-name endorsements. There's some guy out there by the name of Trump that I saw the letter. I saw the letter. I got a copy of the letter somewhere.
Yeah.
Endorsed by I don't know how you pulled that one off.
I did, and
you actually shook his hand, didn't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Look at this.
So I was at the Catawba Indian Casino groundbreaking this morning, and Donald Trump Jr. was there.
No kidding.
Absolutely. So
wow.
I saw him, and that just shows you how important our area is to the national political scene, maybe. But yes, I was very honored to get President Trump's endorsement, and also got Governor McMaster's endorsement.
There you go.
And I have for a couple of terms. And he has been very kind to send out a little direct mail on my behalf.
Well, that's called the 1-2 punch, right?
Yeah, we hope.
So I know that comes as a result of your basic conservative approach to some of these key issues. Tell me about that.
Well, I have been on the Republican team that's gotten a lot done. The Republicans in this 2-year session, they're 2-year sessions really. So in the last 2 years, our Republican-controlled House has passed the most conservative agenda ever. We've done constitutional carry, which the governor was quick to sign on to. We're trying to start the Help Not Harm bill, safeguarding, the transgender laws. We're trying to stop that, and we did that with Bill H 4624, and then we followed up with some online pornography. We stopped all that. So online as best we can as a state. Of course, an online presence is a hard thing to control.
Exactly.
We're improving on our voting systems, our taxes. I think that's a big deal. Manning, is we have cut taxes and continue to cut taxes. We're on track to see them go down again, and that's been very important. And South Carolina hadn't cut taxes until the last couple of years.
That's exactly right. And what you've done is you've cut the top tax rates. You changed the whole table. I've forgotten what it works, but.
Yeah. And let me tell you, going back to economic development, which is important, and I think that's my job, is to help do economic development work, and I happen to do it in the private sector too. It's important, and we are constantly being compared with North Carolina and Georgia.
Yeah.
And they are beating us at the tax game. They are operating with lower tax rates than we are, and it hurts us. And then it forces us to come up with other creative ways to try to get a company to come here, and we've had some success. I'm proud of the Gallo Winery.
That's quite an operation
that came
down
there. 1.5 million square foot building, huge. We just yesterday, you probably didn't know this, but we were opening or doing the kind of a private showing opening of the fire department, which I was able to get $2 million of state money to come back and build the Fort Lawn Fire Department, because you can't build 1 million square foot plant and not have a big enough fire department.
No.
So that was actually got the first responder tour yesterday.
And having done a Straight Talk show live from the Gallo Winery, I can tell you that is one big building. And it's no wonder they run around in golf carts all over the place, because it's so big you can't walk
Over
in.
1 million square feet
that's
in
huge.
Chester County.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And, of course, we got GT Tire, which is
Tire.
another huge one. And we are going to see Albemarle Corporation, which is a big company, I think maybe based in Australia. They're going to build the batteries that they're going to need for the Scout plant down in Blakenwood.
And that's, of course, we had Robert Long on here, I don't know, a month or so ago, and that one's slowed down a little bit simply because of what's going on with electric vehicles right now.
And the price of lithium has dropped by 60 or 70%.
All right, so you've been endorsed by Mr. Trump, you've been endorsed by Mr. McMaster, you've been endorsed by your wife and your kids, and
Tommy Pope, Christy Cox.
All right, you got about 25 seconds left to tell everybody why they should vote for you. Randy Ligon, State House District number 43.
Well, I have been honored to serve you for the last 6 years. It takes time, friends, to figure out where you are and how to make a difference. And I hope I've made a difference, and I would appreciate the opportunity to go back and continue to bring home the taxpayer money back to Chester and York County in District 43. I'd appreciate your support on June 11th.
His name is Randy Ligon, and he's running for re-election, and you will see his name on the ballot on Tuesday, and he's looking for your support. Thanks for being part of the process, Randy, and thanks for being here today.
Yes, sir.
And that's going to wrap up our Straight Talk program live from Substation 2, Cherry Road across from Winthrop. A reminder, we're going to be replaying all of these political profiles over the weekend. Keep listening to WRHI or go online, and you'll find out exactly when they're going to play. So that's going to do it for us. Our broadcast presented by Founders Federal Credit Union. Relax here with Founders. And by Comporium, your friendly neighborhood tech giant. Okay, we have all the wisdom in the world here today. Yeah, never mind. All right. At the count of three, let's tell everybody what the heck we do here at Substation 2. You're going to read it. White letters at the count of three. Are you ready? 1, 2, 3.
Slice, slice, slice. Garden, garden, garden.
Not bad. Have yourself a wonderful weekend. We'll see you on the radio on Monday. Bye.
South Carolina's most honored radio station. News Talk 100.1 WRHI Rock Hill. W261CY Rock Hill. The voice of York County.
An OTS media station.
Hunter Biden's daughter takes the stand on Lisa Brady, Fox News. His oldest daughter, Naomi, testifying that in the fall of 2018, her father seemed the clearest he'd been since her uncle died. In October of that year, Hunter Biden's accused of lying about drug use when he bought a gun. An agent from the Drug Enforcement Administration, the last prosecution witness.
Now, whether or not Hunter was on drugs at the time he made the purchase of that .38 caliber Colt Cobra revolver is the crux of the prosecution's argument. This new testimony, according to the prosecution, is that he was on drugs. The DEA witness combed through Hunter's text messages as proof, and earlier the defense called two men from that gun store where Hunter bought the six-shooter.
Fox's Lucas Tomlinson at federal court in Wilmington, Delaware. The defense has suggested Hunter may have been lying in the texts when he talked about using drugs. President Biden says there's an echo from the Army Rangers who scaled French cliffs during the D-Day invasion 80 years ago, and that they're asking Americans to stay true to what the country stands for.
My fellow Americans, I simply refuse to believe that America's greatness is a thing of the past.
Many World War II veterans in the audience on a cliff overlooking Omaha and Utah Beach in a second day of tributes. Earlier, the president meeting with Ukraine's leader, announcing another $225 million in military aid and apologizing for weeks of uncertainty as a package was held up in Congress.
I assure you, the United States is going to stand with you.
This as Russia's President Putin repeats a warning that he could arm Western adversaries in response to Ukraine being allowed to use weapons from NATO allies to strike targets in Russia. The U.S. among those allowing it, but with limits. A much stronger jobs report than expected. 272,000 jobs created in May. Acting Labor Secretary Julie Su telling Fox Business.
I don't think it matters what you call it. This is an economy that is doing well.
President Biden says more progress is needed. America is listening to Fox News. You know, our friends at Henry Repeating Arms, they manufacture a line of very high quality rifles, shotguns, and revolvers that you can be very proud to own. Now, they're made in America with parts and materials also from America. Now, they use old world craftsmanship combined with cutting edge technology to deliver reliable and accuracy that you can trust in any situation. Now, they're easy to use and maintain. It makes them an excellent choice for both a novice and experienced shooter. Henry has over 200 models, so you can find the firearm that's right for you. There's also new releases all throughout the year. And every purchase is backed by their lifetime warranty and the company's owner. Anthony Imperato also gives his personal guarantee for 100% satisfaction. Now, make sure you go to their website, henryusa.com. Order their free catalog. They'll send you free decals and a list of dealers where you are. That's henryusa.com. Free catalog, free decals, and a list of dealers where you are. You're going to love this company and these firearms like.
In the News Center, I'm Stephen Stone. A $103 million settlement has been approved by a federal judge in the pollution lawsuit against New Indy. The York County Container Board bill sparked thousands of complaints regarding the smell and emissions from the plant. That lawsuit began in 2021 when residents raised environmental concerns, along with the odors that were causing nausea, headaches, and other alleged ailments. After this settlement, it's learned that the plaintiffs are to split up 18